everybody, welcome to this Makeup Monday. Today we are finally going to summarize my field testing primers and what I learned and my final conclusions in general about each one and just in general with the whole primer thing. So I need to wear my glasses for this one, you guys. This I need to refer a lot to my notes. I have this very segmented out, so it will be more organized than I'm usually capable of doing, because I have a lot of information I want to cover, and I hope you stick with me to the end because I want to talk about silicones, what they are, and what they do to the skin. I think it's really important to understand what silicones are, and especially with regards to primers, because there are tons of silicones in primers. Okay, so let's get going on this. First of all, I have never really used primers much at all. And primarily because I'm not too fond usually of their ingredient decks. They're loaded with silicones, and I don't know, I just haven't been too big on trying them, to be quite honest. But there are so many new ones out on the market, and I am an aging gal, and I'm curious about if there's going to be a huge benefit in wearing them. I had really no intention, even if I fell in love with them, of wearing them every single day, just because I know that that's not a great thing to do when you have so much silicone in them. So that wasn't ever really something I planned on doing. But you know what? Occasionally, I, probably would wear a primer, maybe a date night or a special occasion or whatever. And so I'm really curious to find out what these primers do, if they live up to their claims. And so I wanted to try them out and give them a good go. The first thing you need to determine, however, is what you are looking for in a primer, because there are a gajillion of them out there, and they all are geared towards something a little different age groups and so on. So I really wanted to know what it was that I'm looking for in a primer. So this is my criteria. First of all, I'm 52. I'm not looking to mattify my skin or to calm down any oils. And also, I'm also not looking to illuminate my skin with a primer. I can do that after I get my makeup on, or even maybe the foundation as well. So I'm not looking to do that with my primer. I'm also not looking to correct anything with my primer, like color correcting. There are a lot of color correcting primers now, on the market. And I gotta get comfy for this, guys. I'm not really looking for that in a primer. What I am looking for, though, is a smoother surface. I don't have any scarring or anything per se in that avenue. But, as I am aging, my pores are starting to be a little more noticeable, which is what happens when we age. And I would just like to have a nice kind of smooth canvas of which to apply my foundation on. And along those lines, I'm looking for better application, a nice surface to apply my foundation on, just nicer application of my foundation. And I also like to see if I can get longer wear out of my foundation. But with that said, I don't care if my foundation lasts all day long. To me, that would be like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours would be good for me. Anything past that, if I really am going to be going out or something, I can freshen up my makeup a little bit and I'll be fine. I just want to get through my day looking pretty good and not feeling like I have to touch it up. So to me, that's somewhere around the 5 or 6 hour mark. So that's about the time that I tested these primers to see what they were doing around then. So it would be nice if maybe I could get a little bit more wear. And so I'm going to look for things like breaking up. Is it settling in lines, my dry areas? Are my pores glaring through? Not that I have huge pores, but I am starting to see them right in through here and in my forehead. And I don't know, I would like to see if I can see a difference, with that. And I want it to feel good on my skin. You know, I go through great lengths to take good care of my skin, and I don't like heavy foundations, and I certainly don't want to feel that primer on my skin. So I do want it to feel good. I don't want to feel like it's there. And I also want it to feel good, just kind of, you know, the application process as well. And then, of course, you know, I really don't want to break out. And as we talk about silicones at the end of this, I'll explain why that is probably going to be a hard thing to prevent. But I'm just curious. I'm curious to see if I will notice that I am starting to break out because of the primers. Okay, so I have my little criteria of what I'm looking for in these primers. So the next thing is, what primers do I want to test? And there are a ton of them out there, you guys. That's why it's a really good idea. You're going to hear my dogs because I'm filming downstairs tonight. And for some reason, they are on guard right now. Anyway, it's important to know kind of what you want. So with that in mind, these are the 3 primers that I tested. And I tested these for a while. And they are CoverFX Anti-Aging Primer. I wanted to try this one. That is Cooper you were hearing. I wanted to test the Urban Decay Optical Illusion. And I wanted to test the POREfessional by Benefit. This is a tiny little sample. I was so glad that they had this, so I didn't have to purchase a full-size one. This one actually is a travel size. The full-size one is much bigger than this as well. And this one is a full size. I've had this one for a little while. So I really kind of want, it was the only primer that I think I had tried in years and years. And I have had this for a little while, but never tried any others. So I was really curious to see, you know, what the other ones were like. So I really wanted to narrow it down to like 3 because otherwise it would be quite overwhelming. And it would have taken me many more weeks to see if I saw any difference. So those were the 3 primers that I wanted to test out. Now, to make this fair and to make it as easy on me as possible, I had to make sure my variables were the same and there weren't any other variables that could cause any differences and make it unfair for each other. So those variables are that I had to use the same foundation with all 3. And I did. I used the NARS Radiant Longwear Foundation, and I wanted to use the same skincare and sunscreen with all 3 as well, because I do tend to kind of change that up sometimes daily depending on what I'm feeling. So I made sure to do the same thing skincare wise and sunscreen wise with all 3 of them. And I checked in at approximately the 6-hour mark with all 3 to see about that one little criteria of, do I notice a difference at the end of the day, what's going on around that time, and so on. So those were the things that I could control and kept the same with all of them. So we're going to talk about each one separately, and the first bit that we're going to talk about is what their claims are with their foundation, with their primers. So let's start first with the Optical Illusion by Urban Decay. So here are their claims with this primer. They claim that it will smooth out the skin, reduce fine lines, the pores seem to vanish, the makeup goes on better, and the makeup will last longer. It will give skin a soft focus effect, is what they call it, which gives you this really kind of porcelain airbrush finish, and it dries down to a powdery matte finish. It is a slight pink tint, and this, they claim, illuminates the skin pre-makeup, and that illumination will shine through your makeup. So it is indeed, let me show you what this looks like. It is you probably will look, it won't look light pink, but it is definitely a light pink, and that is a lot for just my hand. But it does indeed do that. It does eventually blend out to be a nice kind of slippery, powdery finish, and it does mattify the skin. Okay, those are the claims of the Optical Illusion Primer. Now, this was, I'm not saying the others aren't, but this was the only one that actually let me know in their description that it is 100% cruelty-free. That's important to me. I don't work with anything in my skincare practice that is not anything else. So I don't know if the other ones aren't. It just didn't say anywhere on the website or you know, anywhere else. So primers across the board, guys, are really loaded with silicones. That's what makes them primers, quite honestly. So they all have, you know, all of those silicones in them. But on top of that, this one has argan oil, rosehip oil, meadowfoam oil, and vitamin E. And this one did not have any fragrance, I noticed. So that is nice to know. There were some other oils and such in there, but I have to say, being an ingredient junkie and really, you know, kind of hyper obsessed with that, taking in consideration these are primers, you know, I have to say the ingredient deck wasn't too bad. It was actually kind of nice. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do with each of these primers is I'm going to tell you if it met my criteria. So let's start with the application of the primer. Did I like the way it felt? Yes, this primer felt wonderful. It went on beautifully, had a beautiful slip. It didn't feel oily, and it definitely, you know, finished off in a nice powdery finish, just like the explanation on the website said. And it also definitely dried matte. So yes, it did feel good. Did it smooth the surface? Yes, it did. Absolutely. Did I have a better application with my foundation? Yes, noticeably different. Did I feel like it gave me longer wear in my foundation? To be honest, I did not. I did not see any difference after that time with wearing the foundation by itself and checking in, and or with a primer. I really didn't see any difference. Whatever it was doing with both of them. I did not take pictures for this reason, because I don't have the best camera in the world, and my phone is very, very old, and it doesn't take the greatest of pictures anymore. Did you know, side note, can't have it, don't have time. That'll be for a gab sesh. Anyways, bottom line is, I wouldn't have been able to give you any material visually that would have explained or shown you anything worthy of that much clarity. And I would have had a dozen people tell me, I don't know why you're showing us this, we can't see anything. Probably just like I'm going to have a bunch of people saying, why are you just speaking this? Why did you not take videos, or at least show us some pictures? Well, I just honestly chose not to do it that way, for the reason of I don't have the best conditions to do that. So the other one was, okay, so I didn't see a difference in how it looked at the end of 6 hours, but did the primer keep the foundation from settling in lines and the dry skin? Yes, initially it did, but by the end of the 6 hour mark, like I said, I really didn't see a lot of difference with or without a primer. So that is my criteria, and I think for the most part it did fairly well. So if you recall, the manufacturer, in their description, it says you get this slight pink tint and to illuminate the skin pre-makeup, and it will give the skin a soft focus effect / like kind of an airbrush finish. I have to tell you that out of all three of these primers, I saw a very, very definite difference in how my skin looked with my foundation wearing this primer. But I would say that dramatic effect only lasted for probably about an hour. And then it just kind of slowly started looking like probably a good primer. And then by the end of the time, when it was around the 5 or 6 hour mark, to me, I didn't see much of a difference between wearing it with or without a primer. But let me tell you, initially when you first apply it and you put your makeup on, it really does. It does blur things out, and honestly, it does look like an airbrush finish. It would be an amazing primer to use if you're getting professional photos taken in a wedding, a special event, a fancy date, just date night. You will look fabulous for about 1 or 2 hours. I mean, you're going to look fantastic the whole time, but truly, those points that the manufacturer, truly what they say happens does happen. It just only lasts. It's kind of like Cinderella, That was what I found. And I did wear this several times, and I experimented with wearing it, my foundation without and with, and I tried not putting as much on, putting on what a normal, I really did experiment with this over several weeks. It's not just the one time. Anyway, so if you're getting pictures taken, or even doing a YouTube video, definitely wear that primer. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The next one we'll talk about is the POREfessional. Look at this little thing. Now this is the best-selling primer ever. It has won a gajillion different beauty I don't know if you would say won awards, but it's been noticed and recognized by, I don't know. Anyway, it is the most popular primer. Now, I would say Benefit in general, for the most part, their demographic is definitely the younger crowd. And so this is where that is the most popular. But I really wanted to try it out because it is so, so popular. And let's see about this one. This one claims, first of all, it's the only one of the 3 that does have fragrance. And I only tell you that because as an esthetician, I can tell you that when people have a reaction to a product, generally, most of the time, it's going to be fragrance. Fragrance is one of those things that many, many people have a little of a reaction to. Some people have a lot of reaction. So I just want you to know, this does have fragrance in it. So they claim that it will minimize the appearance of pores. I mean, obviously it's called POREfessional, and fine lines for smoother skin. It has it's a silky lightweight balm, and it says makes makeup stay put. So I'm assuming that means it does give some longevity, and it's translucent and oil free. Oh, geez, I wanted to tell you, I'm so sorry. One of the things I did notice at the end of the day, or even around the 5-hour mark with the Urban Decay Optical Illusion, is that my skin was significantly oilier. It really, I'm not one that has anything near oily skin. I have normal, natural oil breakthrough. We all should. If you don't, then that's not good. But, I have breakthrough oil during the day, which is healthy. This was way beyond that. I really had a lot more oiliness to my skin when I used the Optical Illusion primer at the end of the day. It wasn't like, oh my God, like so much shine. It was just definitely noticeable for me, and more noticeable than, I definitely, let's just say I had a healthy glow. I wouldn't say I looked like an oil slick, but I definitely know my skin, and I don't usually look that glowy at the end of the day. So I wanted to put that in there. Now this one is oil free, so I didn't see that. Now you got to remember too that I like to use, what was it that I used at this? Okay, I was still using my Pumpkin E serum, so I do a little tiny bit and I press it in, and that is a really great nutritious lipid serum. So, being how the Optical Illusion, had all those extra oils in there, I think that was just putting me a little over the top. So I'd rather get my skin nourishment from my skincare, to be honest, than my primer. Okay, so let's get back to the POREfessional. I'm really sorry I forgot to talk about that. Anyway, it says translucent, oil-free. It has a vitamin E derivative. And I really didn't think about doing this. I could have maybe done this with the Optical Illusion, but they recommend if at some point during the day you're starting to see your pores, you know, kind of more, they recommend using a little bit. And they really say this goes a long way. You need a little bit and just reapply over the top of your makeup. And I didn't try that, but I would like to try that, I think, with the Optical Illusion and see what that does. If I do that at some point during the day to freshen it up, maybe it'll bring back that, you know, beautiful effect that it was giving me. Anyway, those are the claims for the POREfessional. So looking at the ingredient deck of the POREfessional, tons of, you know, silicones like the others, and it definitely had fragrance, and you know, there weren't any anti-aging things in there and sodium hyaluronate or, you know, anything like that. So let's take a look at the POREfessional. I saved enough in here to show you guys. This one has almost the look of a foundation color, even though, you know, it's not pink. It looks more like a pretty foundation color. And this one also is very, it dries matte. It feels lovely, and it dries to kind of that powdery finish as well. Comparably now, since we've talked about the Optical Illusion, this one felt very nice just like that. It just was not quite as luxurious of a feel, but still very, very nice. Let's look at my criteria. So it definitely did well with how it felt. Did it give me a smooth surface? Yes. Yes, it did give me a nice smooth surface. Was it nice to apply the foundation on top of? Yes, it definitely was. I saw definitely a difference in the application. Not, however, as nice as the Optical Illusion. Did I notice? So yes, there was better application though with the primer, definitely. Did it keep the foundation from settling in lines and dry skin? Again, I would say initially I saw a bit of a difference. Not as big of a difference as the Optical Illusion, but I did definitely see a difference. It applied better and it looked better for sure initially. But by the end of my day, I really checked in and I still had, you know, my normal breakthrough. I could see my pores a little more. It was settling in there, and same with the Optical Illusion. So I really didn't see any difference with this one as well when I checked in at the end of the day. Okay, let's mosey now to the final one, which is the CoverFX Anti-Aging Primer. Okay, so what are the claims of this one? Because they have anti-aging right on this here package. The claims for the CoverFX Anti-Aging is, first of all, that it has anti-aging ingredients to treat your skin. It says that it will smooth your skin, blur fine lines, treat and hydrate with antioxidants and peptides. It says it gives you supreme blendability with your foundation, and you will get a much more even application with your foundation, and you will have extended wear. And you can also use this alone without foundation because it's an anti-aging treatment. So that's what their claims are. Then I looked at the ingredient deck, and of course you've got your gajillion different silicones, and this one has squalane in it. Squalane is great. It's an antioxidant and an emollient. So it's nice to see that in there, I have to say. It has sodium hyaluronate, which we know is, you know, water binding and a humectant. And then it has ubiquinone, which again, antioxidant benefits. And it has 2 peptides in here. There is no fragrance. So the only one that had fragrance was the POREfessional. So that's good. I'm glad there's no fragrance in here. So that's the ingredient deck. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me go back to what I want from a primer and see how this goes. Let's start with how this one felt. So now, out of all of them, guys, I would say this was my least favorite with how it felt. As you can see, it feels like definitely a balm. It feels like Vaseline. It really does. It's like I took a glob of more of a thicker silicone-based Vaseline, but nonetheless, it felt like Vaseline. And it felt like Vaseline the whole time that I was putting it on my skin. And so it didn't have that powdery feel to it. And I just, out of all of them, I didn't care for the way this one felt on my skin when I applied it. Okay, so I don't think it ticked the box for that one. Did it give me a smooth surface? Yes, it did. Did it help the makeup apply nicer? Yeah, it definitely did. It's primer duty with that. Did it wear longer? And when I checked in at 5 or 6 hours, did I see a difference? No, I didn't. I honestly did not see a difference with the long wear. It looked the same as when I didn't wear a primer. Did it keep my foundation at, through the day from settling in fine lines and wrinkles and dry spots and whatnot? I would say I noticed that the least with this one. I did. It did somewhat, because I could tell that the makeup, my foundation, the NARS foundation, it was going on nicer. But I didn't really see an initial, but I feel like probably out of the three, this one, things started happening and settling probably much sooner than the other two. Here's the thing with this, because they say this is an anti-aging treatment. You can wear this and get benefits from it. It has a couple peptides in it, it's got some antioxidants in it, and you can wear this as a daily skincare piece to your regimen. No. I am not falling for that. I'm just not. And I absolutely would rather get that from my skincare, because to me, all of the silicones in here cancel out anything that I could benefit from wearing every day as a treatment for my skin. So here's the bottom line with the primers. Do I feel like I want to go out now and buy any one of those in the full size amount because I loved it so much? I would have to say no. Out of all of them, though, if I had to choose, and I think you've already figured out which one I would probably choose, and that would be the Urban Decay Optical Illusion. I mean, I wasn't looking to use a primer every single day, and so this will last me quite a while. I probably wouldn't invest in a full-size one because I will only use it every so often, but I have to say that this one lived up to its claims, not the whole time it's on my skin, but it was pretty impressive, and I honestly was pretty wowed by it, especially within that first hour. So, filming YouTube videos, maybe. I wouldn't use it every day. If I was in a wedding, yeah. Professional photography, oh yeah. Not that I get that done, but for instance, last year my daughter got married. It would have been nice to have this. So yeah, I mean, this one was pretty impressive, but I'm not going to go out and buy a full-size one because I'll use it every so often. When I run out of this, it'll take me a long while, and I'll probably just get the same size again if I wanted to. But that is my overall take, is this one, for my criteria, definitely beat out the other two. And again, I didn't find across the board that any of them made my makeup stay longer. So yeah, I wouldn't wear a primer every single day, and for those reasons that I said. Out of the primers that I tested, this one definitely would be my choice. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch on was, did any of the primers break me out? It's hard to say. I was using lots of them, but yes, I did break out. I broke out definitely more than I ever have, and I know it's because of the primers. Absolutely. They're little the little tiny ones, you know, little whiteheads, they're very surface breakouts because of that kind of occlusive pore clogging thing that primers can tend to do. So yeah, I did have some breakouts. I had some breakouts here and here and here, and I had one or two on my forehead. No big deal. You know, I extract them and clean them up, and within a couple days they're gone. So it wasn't a big deal, but definitely, I just know it was because of these primers. I don't normally break out that much, especially in that amount of time. I think it's so important that you understand silicones. And I don't have anything against silicones. I don't think silicones are detrimental and dangerous to your health or anything like that. A little bit of silicone in your moisturizer to give it a nice light slip, okay. But here's the thing, primers are silicone based. I mean, really, primers have a lot of silicone in them. And you're going to be wearing that on your skin all day. And for many people, they wear primers every day when they wear makeup. And that's where I have a problem. I knew when I was looking into primers that I wasn't going to be wearing one every day. But I was really curious to find out if there was a substantial difference. So if I had a special occasion or, you know, going out, I wanted to see if I could see a noticeable difference. That's why I wanted to field test them. I had no intentions of wearing them every day, and I highly recommend you don't either because of the silicones. Silicones are slippery polymers, and they really do give this really great feel to that product. They are semi-occlusive. Occlusive means that stuff isn't able to get in, and it's holding stuff in, and it's not letting things get out. And so if you're wearing something like that every day, all day long until you wash your face at night, and can you imagine if you don't wash your face? That gives me the goosebumps. But nonetheless, it's trapping debris in your pores. And that is not a good thing because there's a kind of a cascade of events that can occur then when you are wearing something semi-occlusive like that all day long. And what congestion is those, if you were to, see, here's the thing. As an esthetician, I could do so much with just my eyes closed. I can feel what's going on under the skin. So much of it is just in what you feel. And many times you can't see congestion, but you can feel it. And then if you separate, if you kind of like flatten out the skin, then you can see these little bumps under there. Like they don't have a head on them. They're not pustules. They don't have any white heads. It's not a black head. Nothing that you can pop or anything. As a matter of fact, don't try. But that is congestion. That's underground congestion, and that's caused by debris getting trapped in the pores. And it does and can go away, and you don't want to extract anything because it's not that type of thing. Mineral oil is a huge culprit that causes congestion. Silicones is another one, very occlusive like mineral oil, and can cause congestion. It really interferes with the skin's own ability to shed dead skin cells, desquamating. It absolutely can interfere with that, and that's not a good thing. You want your skin cells to shed and get off your skin naturally, and on top of that, if you are of the mature age, that slows down all by itself, and then quite dramatically as you get older. So you don't want to put something like a primer on your skin every single day because it does interfere with that natural shedding of the dead skin cells. So what you can be left with if you do wear and use a lot of silicones in your daily skincare regimen is dull, congested, dry skin. Dead skin cells do not reflect light. They're dead, dulling, not good. If they just sit there because they're not able to shed, then unfortunately you can get some congestion as well, and it can really happen pretty quickly. So, anyway, this is my concern with daily use of primers. So silicones can interfere with cell renewal. The other thing is it's hard for it to stay hydrated. And ironically, some of these primers have sodium hyaluronate. Well, to hold 1,000 times its weight in water and to be a humectant, it's got to get that water and moisture from somewhere. And if you're not allowed to get it into your skin, what's the good of it being in there? So that's ironic, but nonetheless, that is a little bit about silicones. And I hope you find that interesting. These are kind of things that I just am fascinated with. So I hope that you understand a little bit more. So I hope now you feel like you're a little bit more of an educated consumer. It's like I knew that about primers. I know they're loaded with silicones, but you know what? To put a primer like this on so I look pretty amazing for at least an hour or two. It's a little bit like Cinderella that way, but that's okay. That's okay. We can work with that. So I hope you enjoyed this field testing of these primers. Hope it didn't bore you to tears. Most of all, I hope it helped you. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you that stayed to the very end, you are my kind of people. Okay, see you real soon, guys. And most of all, stay young at heart. Bye-bye.